today I am going to be sewing up an ITA bag, which is a pin badge bag. So you get a little panel that you can put your pin badges on and then put it in the bag. It's got a clear window so you can display them and wear them and all of those fun things. So I've made a couple in the past, but recently one of my most asked questions on my Q&A vlog questionnaire thing, I guess not questionnaire, post to ask for questions, was, will you do an ITA bag tutorial? It's also one of my most commonly commented things on YouTube, and one of my most successful videos on YouTube is a 1 minute short of me sewing up an ITA bag. So it's here. I'm going to do another one, and I figured I would sit down and go through it all with you in a bit more detail. Disclaimer, full disclaimer, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I am sure that there are better ways, proper ways to do this. I just make everything up as I go and kind of wing it. This is what's worked for me on previous bags. I am going to use the Hugo from Carbon Chic as a base for this. I have never done this with this bag before, so do not copy this. I am sure there are better things out there. This is not a tutorial. This is how I do it. So follow at your own risk, basically. So cutting out the bag, what I've cut differently to make this an ITA bag over the regular instructions and how this bag is regularly made. So the front panel, I have cut a big window out of it, and I have cut 2 of these, and then I have cut the front panel out of clear vinyl, which I'm then going to sandwich between the 2 and use that as a front panel and just sew it up how I would any other panel. I will go through this, guys, and sew it up as we go, but just as a quick overall. And then what I've done, I'm not doing a traditional lining panel for the front. I am going to be doing a slip pocket in which we slip our panel into. So I've just cut a large piece that I'm going to fold in half, sew at the bottom, and then I'm going to do a little snap tab to hold that panel in place. Finally, I have 2 pieces of canvas that I'm going to use for our pin panel. So one half of those I've done in the main print of the bag, and then the other panel I have just turned the transparency right down so that you've kind of got the subtle pattern on it, so it does tie in with the bag, but it's not overwhelming, so when you put your pins on it. I just like this way, it's double-sided and you can use it even if you haven't got pins in the bag. So yes, that is, and then I've just cut out the rest of the bag as the pattern is written, and yeah, we will go and sew that all up. As I say, I'll take you along and go through step by step what I do, and hopefully it makes sense to you. Hopefully you can follow along. I am not a tutorial person. I don't do tutorials. This is just me sewing and bringing you along for the ride. So I hope you can get something from that. And yeah, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and start sewing up this panel. Bye. Hey, so we're going to start by sandwiching our clear vinyl piece in between our 2 front panels with the windows. I'm going to use some tape to secure it, and then I'm just going to top stitch around it. Simple as. So let's do that. And I'm going to do my best to line up the window on both sides so that it's all nice and neat, and just peel it up and adjust as needed. Okay, I think we're good. So from both sides it's as lined up as I can get it. So now I'm just going to whiz round top stitch to hold it all into place. Right, so I've just sewn all the way around, top stitched, and then I've pulled the two bits aside and I've just trimmed down our clear vinyl just so it's out of the seam allowance, because obviously you've got two layers of vinyl here. Yes, we're foregoing a layer of lining on this top half, but we're still going to have it at the bottom, we're still going to have the gussets. So yeah, just trim that clear vinyl out the seams. And then our front panel is done. We're just going to treat this exactly the same as we would the front panel for the regular bag. Probably not the most logical order to do this, but it's the order I'm going to do it. So we're going to take our ITA panel. So as I say, I've got two pieces. This is just waterproof canvas that I've printed up. And then I have some, what's it called? Craft text. Previous ones I've done Decaphil Heavy. I just have some craft text on hand right now, so that's what I'm going with. As I say, this is not a tutorial. I've never done it with this, but I'm going to give it a go and I can let you know how it goes. I will say the Decaphil Heavy has always worked for me, so yeah, it's up to you really and what you have on hand. But I'm just going to sandwich this in between the two layers of canvas, whiz round. I am not going to bind it. I would usually bind the edges. I'm not going to bind it just yet. I'm going to wait till the final bag's done, slide it in and just check that everything works, because if I haven't bound it I can still trim a little bit off and rebind if needs be, because I just want to make sure that once all those layers, everything are in the bag holding it, obviously we're going to lose some width. I just want to make sure everything fits rather than finishing it perfectly and then finding it doesn't work. So yes, I'm going to whiz round and baste these together, and I will then check back with you after that. Okay, so as I say, I've just basted around this. I think I forgot to mention there's also a layer of fusible fleece on this as well. So canvas, Craftex, fusible fleece, canvas. So it just gives it a bit of a squish, like a bit more, I don't know, it feels nicer. So mine is curving a little bit because it was on a roll, so I'm just going to put it under something heavy and that should flatten out, no problem. Once we made the bag and I know it fits, I'll then just bind around the edge of this to make it all nice and finished. But while the edges are raw, we can still trim a little bit off as we need to. And that just sits in the window like that. Next step, I have this. So what I've done is I've just taken our front panel, split it in half, and then doubled it so that I can just fold it in half and have a nice clean edge for the top of the slip pocket. You can also cut two pieces, but I cut it on the fold so that I don't need to do extra seams. So all I'm going to do is fold this in half and then top stitch along the folded edge to give it a nice edge. And then I am going to attach it to the bottom of our pocket like this, or bottom of our front panel, to create a slip pocket to house our panel. So yeah, I'm going to do that and I'll be back once we're done. We're done. So we've got our finished pocket, which I've just basted onto the front panel. I've also closed up these edges just to keep them all together. And then we've got our panel that we can just slide into the pocket and it sits perfectly in the window. Last thing, or last adjustment I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little snap tab that I'm going to put over here just to support this bag, to stop it like tipping back or getting caught by things in the bag. So I'm literally just going to do a raw edge tab, stick a magnetic rivet through here so that it can just be adjusted. Lift it up, take the panel out, pop your pins on, put it in, put the snap tab back. So yes, that's the last adjustment we're going to be doing, and then our front panel will be done. So yeah, let's go do that. So we finished the last adjustment for our ITA panel for now. As I say, once the bag's all assembled, we will go round and just finalise this panel. But it just did a little tab. It's just a raw edge tab. I have edge painted it, so just to make it nice and finished, put a magnetic rivet on there, attached it to the panel, so you can just lift it up, take your panel out, and in theory, in my head, it will just keep this panel in place and stop things getting in the pocket, etc. And I've just tacked it onto the top of our panel. So this is our front panel done, and I'm just going to sew this as if it were our standard front panel, and I'm going to make the rest of the bag as instructed. I think the only adjustment I'm making to the pattern is that I'm using a zipper overlay rather than turning and creating the window, and I'm adding D-rings to the handle so that it can be worn as a crossbody, and also adding some D-rings to the top and sides so it can be used as a backpack. So it's all convertible, as many options as possible. But yeah, I'm just going to go sew through and sew this up as a standard bag. As I say, not a tutorial, so I'm just going to whiz through that, sew that all up, and come back when we're ready to finalise our panel. So, but I'm going to go and have a break and I'll lay down. So I will probably do that tomorrow now. See you then. Been about a week since I last spoke to you. I ended up taking the whole of last week off because of health reasons, had a bit of a flare up, but I'm back. I can't remember when I last spoke to you, but we have gone through and we've been working our way through the bag. It's not completely finished. We do need to still bind the inside, but yeah, and you can see this clear vinyl window. So if we open it up, you can see in here is still the raw edge without binding. But if I can angle it just right, we've got that little pocket with our insert. So you just lift up the pocket and take out our panel. So if you remember, probably because to you it is not that long ago, to me it's a couple of weeks, but I did say that I thought this panel would be a little bit too big, and it is. It's, once it's in there it fits perfectly, but getting it in there is a bit of a faff. So I'm just going to take 1/8 of an inch off, like all the way around, then we're going to bind it up. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I used the interfacing cut to make this piece. So I did think it was going to be a bit too snug, hence why we haven't bound it before now. But yeah, 1/8 of an inch off I think should be perfect, just because when you've got the pins and stuff on, it's going to be even more awkward to get it in there. And I just think that little extra 1/8 of an inch wiggle room will make a big difference. So yeah, I'm going to trim this down, bind it up, bind up our bag, and we'll be done. Should be good. I hope it's been okay for you guys. Let's go sort this out. See ya. I put a couple of my own pins on here. I'm not a pin person. I don't have a load of pins, but I got my little small business pins on there. I'll pop all the artists like in the description as well if you're interested in any of them. They're awesome people. But yes, we have a knitted bag. I do still need to make the straps, but that's just going to be basic straps. But yes, I hope it's been helpful. I do hope it's been helpful. As I say, not a tutorial. I'm sure there are 1,000,001 better ways to do this. But let's take the panel out so that I can show you the panel. There we go. So, panel. with pins on, and then on the back it's got obviously the little pin backings. But yeah, I think it worked out really well. I really like the idea of doing this as it's still got the print, so it still ties, but obviously it doesn't detract anything from the pins, because if the pins were on this side they'd get lost. But yeah, I think it turned out great. I'm really happy. I don't think there's anything I would change. I am happy with how it turned out, so yeah, but certain there is better ways. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I have made this up as I go, but yeah, it worked out. It worked out good. I think my proportions were pretty much spot on. I like the little tab. I'm glad I added the little tab. I think that worked out really well, just to hold everything in place. And yeah, it was good. The craft text is giving it a good feel. So in here there is 2 layers of fabric, waterproof canvas, a layer of craft text, and then I put a layer of fusible fleece on the pin badge side as well, just to give it a little extra squish. And yeah, I think it worked really well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and coming on this like 3 week spanning journey with me. This should have literally taken me like 2 days. I could have done this in 2 days if it were not for chronic illness and disabilities. But yes, hey ho, these things happen. I'm sorry if it's been disjointed because of that, but it's reality. That's my life. If you've seen any of my vlogs, you know that we're on this journey together. Document the realities of that. So if you've enjoyed this and you're interested in more of my journey, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button. They really mean the world to me. Also, likes and comments, they really help. And let me know if there's anything else you'd want to see, if there's anything that I kind of glossed over or skipped over that you're interested in. Just let me know. Let me know your feedback. If I was terrible at doing tutorials and I shouldn't bother doing any more, let me know that too. Not a tutorial for that reason. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I love you all, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.